Hey, everybody. So today I have a very special guest, and she comes from Quebec. She's with Sotheby's International Realty Quebec, and her name is Jessica DeRay. And I would like you all to meet her, and we will ask her, tell us about, what are the areas that you look after? What's the entry point? And this is in normal times, not COVID-19 times.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Richard.
Pleasure.
So I work in Montreal, primarily in the West Island of Montreal. So it's further west of the island and off island as well. And currently, what you'll typically see in that kind of area is basically single family homes, townhomes, big luxurious homes as well, condos, a lot of condos.
Yeah, good.
Especially in the downtown core, there's an influx of condos being built right now too. So I work there as well.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, I used to live in Quebec even before you were born, I think in 1973 to 1976.
Oh, it's changed. It's changed.
Oh, yeah. And I've been back there a few times, but I love living in Montreal. It was wonderful. But at the time, it was really, they didn't have a lot of condominiums. And now I was there last year, it's just packed. I mean, it's amazing what's going on, the amount of building.
I know there's always a new project that's coming up with different things going on. So it's really, the skyline has really changed in the city for sure.
Good. And Celine Dion and her family are living out on the West Island, or where?
No. She's not in the West Island. She's got her own things going on. But in the West Island, it's really quite nice. You have that suburban feel, and there's certain areas too that you're close to downtown and you're close to the airport. So it's a really great place to live in.
And there's lots of water around too. There's Lac de Montagne, is that there? Yeah, like the two mountains and stuff.
You know your stuff.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, for those of you who don't know, it's a very beautiful area. A lot of the housing must be mid-century bungalows and things from 1950s and 1960s.
So you'll see a lot of bungalows. You'll see a lot of two-story homes as well, mostly two-story homes. A lot of them have actually been stripped and regutted, and also just new renovation as well too. So you'll have a mix. You have a variety of things as well.
Yeah, we have a bunch of them in Toronto too. We call them post-war love shacks. You had these little two-bedroom bungalows where a husband and wife had 5 kids, and then the husband used the basement as his office or his workshop. And they had 1 bathroom, and people would go, I can't live in this house without 3 bathrooms. That's impossible. So it's always a challenge to sell those, but it's fun. It's fun.
That's the whole charm of it. We call them Canadianas, and they're super charming, and people love them, and they go inside and they put it to their taste. It's really nice.
Yeah, great. So fast forward, now we're in COVID-19 days.
Yes.
And what kind of well, first of all, you guys are the only province in Canada where the realtors are not essential services.
I know, and it's been quite difficult because a lot of people have questions on this, because I would say we're semi-essential because we're only allowed to do priority transactions, and that means anyone that needs to move before July 31st. So it's been a frenzy, to say the least.
And explain to people July 31st, because this is the only place that I know of in the world that does this. Explain to everybody else July 31st.
So actually, it's July 1st, which is called
July 1st, yeah.
July 1st is moving day here in Quebec. So typically that's when people's leases are up. So it's a frenzy on July 1st. People are moving out of their condos, they're going into their new place. So it's quite crazy. They've extended the date to July 31st to, I guess, accommodate those moving, after the July 1st, because I wouldn't want to move on that day either.
No. Now, is it just on rentals? Is it just on leases, or is it on all properties? They always close July 1st.
It's mostly on for leases. Of
Yeah.
course, when you're moving into a home, then it goes with, coincides with the sale,
Yeah.
but it's for leases usually.
So if you're in the moving business, you're really, really busy that day.
Exactly. And making a lot of
Yeah.
money, for sure.
Yeah, that one day, but it's crazy. Yeah, I remember that. And it was because people as well, they'll take their appliances with them. They're renting. Yeah, the rentals don't come with appliances, don't they? Or do they?
It depends. Some people actually bring in their own things because if the tenant stays there quite long, they like to have their own stuff in there. So
Right.
it really depends, but usually they come with it.
God, I remember those days, and it was just like you just didn't want to go outside because there's trucks all around, there's people, and it's not a happy place.
No,
Anyway, so that's the July. So now they've extended it to the 31st.
yes,
Okay.
exactly.
And are you now going to be an essential service or?
No, so just priority clients. So we have a lot of paperwork as per usual to fill
Yeah.
out to make sure that whoever's priority clients, they're listed, and we get to basically resume services only with those people. So
Now, who decides whether they're a priority client? You or the government or the board, the real estate board?
So basically, if we have a transaction, I'll give you an example. My client is going to the notary June 12th for a
Yes.
signing of their sale of the condo. They have to find something, so they're our priority client because where are they going to go? If
Yes.
they need to find shelter, you're automatically a priority client.
But who decides priority? You decide priority, or that's up to the board or the government to decide?
Well,
The
that's
government sets the rules.
the government sets the rules. Yeah, our board really, tries as much as possible to give us the directives to follow as to who is priority, and it's basically whoever needs to kind of find a shelter or a home
Yeah.
before the
Yeah,
30th.
I'm sure it must be difficult, especially with seniors needing to move into a residence, and and especially now with the seniors really being locked down for 2 months.
Yeah, it's been quite hectic just to be on top of the change. It changes almost every day, really. So you really have to
Yeah.
be on top of the game here. And even listing new properties is very different here from what you
Yeah.
guys have.
Well, oh, that's right. First of all, for those of you who don't know, Quebec, the deals pass through the notary. They don't necessarily go through a lawyer. You do all the documents as well? You direct all the documents and then send those to the lawyer
So, but yeah, exactly.
or to the notary?
Yeah, so notary is basically a lawyer, but just a fancy word here in Quebec. Of course, we want to be different.
Yeah.
So we pass along the documents to them, and they do all their title searches and so on, and then
Yeah.
they bill.
Yeah. So not really dissimilar from what you would find in some states in the U.S. as well. Yeah. Yeah, Ontario is a lawyer-based system, so everything goes to the lawyers, and we basically are out of the transaction until closing. And even at closing, we don't attend closing or anything, which is a little bit different. Do you have to attend closing or not?
Well, I typically do. So, it depends on each agent. I like to be there
Yeah,
for the moment, to make sure the adjustments are corrected and I'm there with my client
yeah,
for a happy moment. But now everything is done virtually. So
yeah.
we'll actually do a Zoom with the notary to go through the active sale and proceed.
And do they have to be face to face? Does the notary have to be face to face to get the deal to close or not?
Before COVID, for sure, 100%.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
now with COVID, the government has allowed notaries and lawyers to have electronic signatures.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, the fallout after that, because it's been one of those things that lawyers have really held back of. They've wanted to people, come into the office, sign the documents, go through everything. I'll give you the key. It's been a control issue almost as well too, and now they're going to lose control of that issue. It'll
Exactly.
be interesting. So you're going out. Are you allowed to go out and show properties though to these people?
So only the priority clients, and again,
Yeah.
directives. So we have to have gloves, masks, Lysol wipes, Lysol, Purell, anything that we can. I actually have a bin in my car, so when
I know, me too. The back seat is full of all this stuff, booties,
yeah.
everything. I know, it's crazy. You know what I find interesting as well is when you're out doing a showing like that, normally we've made our living gauging facial,
Mm-hmm.
facial, if people are happy, they smile, you can't see anything now. You're like this, and you don't know whether they like it or they don't like it.
Exactly. You lose a bit of that, how do you say it, that feel with the client, that
Yeah,
relationship based, it's really, really hard. And, we'll call each other on the phone after on the way home in the car and say, I really like this, I really didn't like that. So
I
it's
know.
different. It's different.
I know. If you're a single person these days, how do you go out and date with a mask on? You don't know whether the person likes you or not.
Right?
Have a coffee date. How do you deal with a mask and the coffee? And
That's just the whole mess I'm not interested in.
yeah, that's good. So, are you sheltering in place with family, or how are you managing?
Yes, we're doing good. We're great. Everyone's safe and sound, and
Good.
just trying to make a new normal out of all this situation. So,
Yeah, yeah. Now, Jessica, how many languages do you speak?
I speak English, French,
Yeah,
Italian.
in Italian. Ah,
So I don't need to brush up on the Italian though, because I don't speak very often. But
oh
yes.
well. Yeah, it's interesting. I always found it interesting. Whenever you'd be in Quebec, and all of a sudden you'd see somebody that start talking to you in French, and then I'd say, "So, what's your name?" And they'd say, Antonio. What? There is a very large Italian community in Quebec, in
Very, very
Montreal.
large. We're so diversified in what we have
Yeah,
here in Quebec. So it's quite
yeah,
great. Yeah, we have Little Italy too, which has great restaurants.
exactly. Which is the most important thing.
Exactly.
Restaurants. Restaurant. Not that you can go to them these days.
No,
Anyways, I wanted to say thank you again for putting up with this long-winded interview, but gives people to get a chance to know you. You're our newest member of the EAN, the Exceptional Agent Network at Sotheby.
I'm very
We're
honored.
glad,
Please.
we're glad to have you. So I just want to say, stay safe, look after yourself and your family, and go sell a house.
Will do. Thank you, Richard.
Pleasure.